Hi, my name is Leslie, and I'm a counselor in New Hamburg at Interfaith Counselling Centre. And in this video, I want to talk with you about how to tame the worry dragon. Now, the worry dragon is not an actual dragon, of course. It's a way that we talk about worry or anxiety and can better understand and manage anxiety in our lives. And we all experience and feel the worry dragon in our lives. So I'm going to share some information about anxiety. We're going to talk about the things that cause anxiety for you, and then look at some ways that you can uh, help yourself feel better and better manage that worry dragon in your life. So let's first watch a video together. Actually, before we do that, I want you to, if you don't already, have some paper and something to write with. It can be something colorful like pencils, colored pencils or markers. I want you to, if you don't have that, feel free to put me on pause for a moment and go grab those things. And then we'll watch the video together. Okay, so let's move to the next slide where I have the video.
You know that scared or nervous feeling you get when you have to do something you're not sure you can do? Or go somewhere you've never been before? That feeling is called anxiety. And it can feel a bit different for each person, but it usually doesn't feel very nice. Maybe your palms get sweaty, or your body tenses up, or maybe you get a tummy ache. Maybe you've heard of anxiety, or maybe you haven't, but you've definitely felt it before. Because everyone feels it sometimes. It's normal. You want to know something really weird about anxiety? It's actually trying to help you. It's true. All those uncomfortable feelings, those happen because your brain thinks you're in danger, and it wants to protect you. When our muscles tense up and we sweat, it gets us ready to do a lot of exercise, which is helpful if you need to jump out of the way of a runaway train or wrestle a wolverine. Sometimes our minds go blank and we feel like we can't move or talk. That would be great if we needed to hide. Instead, we just feel stuck. When your brain does this, it's called fight, flight, or freeze. The problem is, sometimes your brain gets confused and it can't tell the difference between a charging moose and, say, going to a new school. Both things can be scary and cause anxiety. But there aren't any dangerous wild animals at a new school. Hopefully. Understanding where anxiety comes from is the first step in learning to deal with it. So the next time you're in one of those tough situations and you start to feel those feelings, like butterflies in your stomach or sweaty palms, or it gets hard to talk or move, remember, there's nothing wrong with your body. You're just having normal feelings of anxiety, and they're actually trying to help, even if they're not very good at it sometimes.
Okay. So what I want you to do with that paper and writing materials, I want you to think about 3 things that cause you to feel anxiety, that cause your worry dragon to come around. So put me on pause again and write 3 things down on your paper. And you can maybe come up with those things on your own, or maybe the adult that's with you can help you figure out what those 3 things might be. Okay, so now you've got your list, the situations that you notice the worry dragon comes around in, and we're going to do something with that list. So we're going to take a look at how big the anxiety is in each of those situations. We can actually measure it, and that's very helpful because it gives us an idea of what we need to do, and maybe how much of something we need to do in order to make our worry dragon shrink a little bit. When our worry dragon is small, like this little one, much easier to be around. It's not so bad. It's not so uncomfortable. But the bigger the worry dragon gets, the more uncomfortable we become. And also the bossier the worry dragon can become. And it can make us avoid things or act in ways that that we don't want to act. So really important to notice how big the worry dragon is and to try to make him shrink a little bit if he's too big. We can measure the size of the worry dragon. I'm going to get a pen here and show you. On this thermometer, we can put measurements. Whoops. Okay, let me try that again. We can measure 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So either the worry is small, like a 1, or big, like a 5. So again, I want you to put me on pause and look at your list. And with each of those situations on your list that create worry for you, I want you to give it a number. Is it a little worry? Is it a big worry? Or is it somewhere in between? All right, so now you have your scale, you know how big your worry is. The other thing to pay attention to is where you feel worry or anxiety in your body. That's important for 2 reasons. One, it's a good clue to us that the worry dragon is around. Sometimes we're not always aware that we're worrying or we're feeling anxious. And so our bodies can give us that information. Also, it helps us know or gives us an idea of some things that we can do to take care of ourselves to make that part of our body feel more comfortable. So again, with your paper and your writing utensils, I want you to draw a body. Now it can look like this. It can be a stick figure. It doesn't have to be a perfect body, just something that kind of is an outline of a body. And on that body, I want you to make marks where you know that you feel worry. So, for example, many people feel worry in their stomachs, in their bellies. Many people describe that as like butterflies in your tummy. That's where we feel a lot of anxiety. Another place might be in your throat. Some people feel worry and feel like it's tightening their throat up a little bit, and that can be a really uncomfortable feeling. Maybe you feel a little bit shaky in your arms, or feel like your chest is tight, it's harder to breathe. Those are all really normal feelings in our body when the worry dragon is around and we're feeling anxiety. So put me on pause, draw your body, and then mark on your body where you feel anxiety. All right. So we know a little bit about what anxiety is. We have been able to name some situations that make us feel anxious. We notice where it is in our body. Now we're better able to figure out ways to manage that worry dragon, to tame him and make her feel not so uncomfortable. So we use the word stop to help us remember how to do that. The letters in stop stand for the ideas that we use. So S-T-O-P. S stands for situation. So the first thing you need to do is notice what are the situations that is making the worry dragon come around and make me feel upset. That's what you've done when you made that list of 3 things. The next letter is T. It stands for thought. So what are some of the thinking tricks that the worry dragon might be trying to play on me? And is there a helpful way to think about this? I'll come back to this one. This one's a really important one. O, other. Are there some other things that might be making my body feel uncomfortable? There's some feelings that we have in our body that make us have big emotions, and it's important to notice those things, like when we're tired or when we're hungry. So when we're tired and hungry, we need to feed our bodies and we need to rest. So important to know if that's happening. And P stands for positive thinking. When we remember the positive, it really helps to shrink that worry dragon. So remembering that you have people there to help you. You have adults that you can go to, that you have some things, and we're going to be talking about this, but some things that you can do to calm yourself down and shrink that worry dragon. So let's look at thoughts. That's a really powerful trick that the worry dragon has. The worry dragon, has these certain types of thoughts that aren't necessarily true. They feel true, and we think them, but they're not true, and they just make us feel more worried and anxious. So here's some examples in these little thought bubbles, and I'll go through them with you. The first one is mind reading. So, we often think that we know what other people are thinking. We all do this, but we don't. We cannot read minds. So an example would be, I think my friend is laughing at me. Now that would make someone feel really worried or upset if you were thinking that. But again, pay attention. Are you just guessing what they're thinking or doing? Or do you have the facts? So mind reading is a guessing that makes us feel anxious. All or nothing thinking. So that would be an example of, I'm either, if I'm not good, I'm totally bad. It's kind of like one thing or the other. When in reality, things are often not all or nothing. But we get hung up on that thinking trick, and it makes us feel bad, makes us feel anxious. Danger. That one is one that a lot of us have, that the worry dragon uses a lot. And that's where we think the worst thing that could ever happen will happen. Like our house is going to get hit by lightning. That does not hardly ever happen, yet we sometimes think that in storms. So important to notice is the thought that you're having in a situation. Is it one where you're thinking the very worst thing is going to happen? And then you can think through it a little bit better and think, we have lightning rods on our house. And you can look at a situation more realistically. Always and never. That's another one. An example would be, I always make mistakes, or I never do anything right. Those two things are not true. Sometimes we make mistakes, and sometimes, we do things the right way. But the worry dragon will trick us into thinking that we always or never do things, and that will make us feel anxious. So important to remember and remind ourselves that that's not true. Should statements. These are statements and thoughts that make us feel badly about ourselves. So examples would be, I should never worry. I should control my feelings. I should never make mistakes. The reality is we all worry. We all lose control of our feelings sometimes, and we all make mistakes. These should statements just make us feel bad about ourselves. And it's helpful to think that, the reality is we all have these feelings, and try not to judge ourselves for that. Fortune telling. So that's like we can tell the future. And an example of this would be, I know I'll mess up. None of us can tell the future. So it's important to notice when this thinking trick is being used by the worry dragon. And the last one is labeling. And that's where we call ourselves bad things, like a bad friend, instead of maybe just thinking about the behavior that we want to change. So we're not a bad person. We just make mistakes. But when we start calling ourselves and we listen to that worry dragon and label ourselves, we start to feel anxious. So back to the stop with the thoughts, you want to, pay attention to any of those thinking tricks that might be happening in those situations where you are feeling anxious. And when you identify that, when you notice, then think, is there a more realistic, helpful way to think about myself in this situation? So again, put me on pause and take a look at your list. And I want you to see, I'll go back to the different thinking tricks and see if any of these fit in those situations for you. And perhaps the adult with you can help you with that. All right. You're doing a good job figuring out the way that the worry dragon is acting in your life. So I want to share some things that you can do in addition to thinking about our thoughts and what we're thinking in these situations that are making us feel anxious. I want to share with you some ideas on things that you can do to help calm your body. So remember, on your body, you had identified some areas that feel anxiety, that feel worry. So these are some things that you can do to calm your body and help it feel better. The first one is called square breathing, and you may be familiar with this, but let's watch this video together. And in the video, you can actually practice square breathing.
Square breathing. With your back straight and body relaxed, let your arms hang by your side if you're standing, or if you're sitting, rest your hands on your knees. Now we're going to silently count to 4 as we breathe. Follow the picture on your screen and breathe in as the arrow moves up one side of the square. Hold your breath at the top. Breathe out as the arrow moves down the other side, and hold your breath again at the bottom. Okay, starting on one side of the square. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out all the way. 3, 4, and hold your breath. 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. Keep going, syncing your breath to the arrow. Breathe out and hold. Breathe in and hold. Breathe out and hold. Breathe in and keep going while you follow the arrow on your screen. If you'd like to keep going, keep pressing repeat. Now let's go back to breathing naturally. You can put your hand on your tummy or over your heart to feel your breath move in and out. Remember, you can always do square breathing whenever you need help to focus or calm down.
Okay. Good job. I always think that that feels so good and relaxing to my body. Some other ideas that you can do. You can relax your muscles. So we often, our bodies get really tight and our muscles tighten up because of, remember, that fight or flight response. So we can just tell our body, tell our muscles to relax. And you can imagine your body being filled with sand and heavy and just relaxing your muscles. Anything that you do to move really helps make the worry feel smaller, shrinks that worry dragon. So using a stress ball, getting up and taking a walk, playing with Play-Doh, that feels good. You know, any type of movement feels good. You can do something that you enjoy, and that changes the feeling. When you're really focused on doing something that you enjoy, it makes you feel good. So it makes the anxiety shrink. So yeah, a lot of people like to draw, color, play with friends, or play with a pet, anything that puzzles, anything that feels fun and kind of gets you focused on that fun thing. Also, talking about your worries is really important because sometimes we need help in figuring out how to take care of ourselves. But also when we talk, it just kind of lets some of that worry out. So talking to an adult that you trust about your worries. And finally, there's something called mindfulness, and you may be familiar with that. I think a lot of the schools are teaching mindfulness. It's really about learning how to focus more and kind of get out of your worried head and into the present. And one thing that I like to teach and I like to practice is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 mindfulness. And that means we use all of our senses. So the sense of sight and hearing and touch and smell and taste. And we use our senses to notice things in our environment. So you would look around your room, notice 5 things in your room that you can see, 4 things that you can hear, 3 things that you can feel with your body, 2 things that you can smell, and something that you can taste. The smell and the taste are usually a little harder. But that has a way of kind of just bringing us into the present and out of some of our worried thinking. all of those things can be helpful. And you might be able to come up with some more things that would be helpful for you. What I want you to do is, if I can change my slide, there we go. Today, I want you to come up with some coping cards. So that's something that after this video is over, you will have to look at and act as a reminder of things that you can do to help yourself feel better when the worry dragon comes around, and to help shrink the worry dragon. So get that paper, get the writing materials, and you can make little cards, or you can just make a list of things that you think you would like to try. Here's some examples that I put down. I can talk to someone about my worries. I can practice square breathing. What is a thinking trick that the worry dragon is trying to play on me right now? And going back to those little thought bubbles, and what are some of the, what's maybe a thinking trick, and what's a helpful way to think about it that will make me feel better. A reminder that these feelings are just the worry dragon. It's just anxiety. There's no real danger. And another one that I would put down is going for a walk outside. So you can have more than 5. And I want you to put me on pause again and make a list of what you want to put on your coping cards. And then maybe later, after this video is over, you can cut up some little pieces of paper to make cards, or if an adult has some index cards or something to write on, and make some cards and keep them with you, so that when you feel anxious, you can pull one out and give that a try. So go ahead and put me on pause and write some things down for yourself. All right. So you have done a lot of exploration around the worry dragon in your life, understanding it a little bit more, how you feel anxiety in your body, the types of things that cause anxiety, and things that you can do to shrink anxiety in your life. For the adults that are watching, I want to let you know about this website, anxietycanada.com. It's a wonderful website, has this information on it, and some more tools that you can use. It has information for children, teens, and adults who are experiencing a worry dragon in their life. Finally, as something fun that you can do together, and since we talked about mindfulness and how nice mindfulness is for our minds, I want to leave you with this game. So it's a scavenger hunt, and you can take a picture maybe of this screen so that you have the scavenger hunt handy, and it's something that you can do together as a family. See who can fill out the most boxes today at home. So have fun with that, and take good care of yourselves, and good luck at taming your worry dragon. Bye-bye.